So this is where your day begins, in a coffee shop in Portobello Road. You know, Master of the Universe are supposed to get up at the crack of dawn and be sitting at their desk by 7, aren't they?
So I believe, but again, this is public perception versus reality. I am dealing with things which are slow to develop. I have some young children, and I recall we planted some seeds, and I said to them, this is going to grow into a beautiful flower. And every day we came out and we watered it. And after the 5th day, they lost interest. They said, Daddy, you're making it up. Yeah, and that's the danger. If you're pressed against the screen, watching every moment of it, you end up giving up. This is a longer term proposition.
So Hugh, how much money have you got, how do I put it, in play?
I have $400 million of clients' money and my own money invested in these funds.
So you've got a vision of the future and you buy various different financial products as a kind of speculation about whether that vision comes true.
Absolutely, yeah. Tim is my trader, and so we've put a few trades on today. We're buying and selling a few securities. When we have conviction in our intellect, we are willing to put our money on the table, and we're willing to lose that money should our idea not stand up under scrutiny.
Okay, and the kind of things you're doing are, for example, what is known as short selling.
Speculating, yeah, we're speculating on the share price falling.
But
we're seeking to profit from the share price falling.
That's known as short selling.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people say that short selling causes huge instability in financial markets. It encourages prices to fall much more quickly than they normally would, making it very difficult for governments and companies to do business in a predictable environment. Yeah. They say the activities of hedge funds like yours are quite damaging.
Yeah. They would say that, because do you know who I represent? I represent their worst nightmare. I represent the only member in our society that can stand up to them, and I can challenge them. I can say to these incredibly important people, I think you're wrong. That scares them. And so we lost money yesterday, yeah? What did we lose?
33 basis points.
So we lost 1/3 of 1%.
Thank you, bye.
Part of the controversy around hedge funds is the kind of way you try and make money. So things like these credit default swaps, you've got them listed up there.
Yeah.
That you buy, these are you're essentially buying insurance against someone else defaulting on their credit. Perhaps the Greek government or maybe a company. You're sort of betting on their failure. People say that's just pure gambling.
I think it's become contentious because it's unpalatable that what we are considering with regard to the future course of action with regard to the economy is that bad things could continue to happen. The fact that we're willing to risk our clients' money, I think you should take that seriously, that is a portent that we aren't reckless, we're typically wise, and if we are betting in that manner, it would be better to consider why we have that opinion. So this is against the dollar, so we're 149, so we're below 50 again. And the euro sterling?
Let me read to you what the Greek Prime Minister says about this, George Papandreou. He says, an elected government, describing the Greek government, making huge changes with the consent of its people is being undermined by concentrated powers in an unregulated market, powers which go beyond those of any individual government. And he's talking there about speculators, he's talking about hedge funds like yours.
Sure.
And he says they're working against Greek, and meaning, for example, that ordinary Greek people are having their incomes cut.
Sure.
Schools are being closed down. Real things are happening in Greece because of people like you.
Well, I think most reasoned opinion would counter that with the notion that Greece has been found cheating. Yeah? So Greece has not met its international requirements, and it has caused great consternation and anger in those other countries in Europe which have made sacrifices. So I'm trying to save us putting more money into this black hole, which is Greece and these other reconstructed economies which wish to continue on the never-never.
Hold on a second, Hugh. So you're saying, in a sense, you're providing a social service?
I tell you, maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm naive, but I believe I am the guard dog of the capitalist system. I'm the one person that can stand up. I can say the emperor has no clothes.
But you're not saying it for any moral purpose. You're saying it because you think you're going to make money.
But, I don't want
you?
to
And
live.
that's why you're doing it.
I don't want to live in a society that marks me as a bad person because I make money. I think making money gives me a legitimacy. Oh,
What's that?
hallelujah! So we're going to get more money into the European fund. You know, the long-only European fund. It's like 1.5, 2 million. So that kind of doubles the size of the fund. So it's nice to get that recognition.
So how does the day proceed, Hugh?
Well, the day proceeds, I close the door and shut out the outside world. I spend my time reading books. I'm terrified that politicians will have to blame someone, and they'll blame me for merely being the messenger. But I'm afraid because the message that I have is rather bleak.
What's that?
The hard times are set to continue, that we've had an unprecedented period of prosperity, and now we're reversing back, and I fear that the government and some of the ambitions can only aggravate the situation and prolong what could be a period of misery for all of us.
But not for you. You hope to profit from this.
Now what I've said is radical. Yeah? If that radical proposition turns out to be correct, then I will make money.